Okay, so for this video, we are going to discuss how are we going to do or deal with the division of the polynomial. Okay, all right. So for the division of the polynomial, you might need some techniques or maybe some solutions, some skills, okay, to get the answer that you want. Okay, so before that, we need to know a few important terms also. All right. So first, you need to know that any kind of polynomial, right? You can actually rephrase it or rewrite it in another pattern that involve dx, qx, and also plus rx. What does it mean? It means dx is the divisor. What is the divisor? I will let you know later now, right? So the quotient is qx, and then the remainder is rx. Okay, all right. So what is the meaning of dx, qs, x, and rx? Okay, so maybe we can actually take a very simple example that maybe we learn in primary school, I think. Okay, let's say I'm having a number. Let's say I'm having 3, 4, 1, 7, and I want to divide it by using 7, let's say. And I want to know what is the answer. Okay, so in primary school, I believe that all of us didn't use calculator, right? Okay, so what are we going to do is like you will draw something like this, correct or not? So you are having 3, 4, 1, 7. Okay, and then you divide it by 7. Still remember the method? Okay, so for this one, what is it? So you are having 4. 7 times 4 is 28. And you have a 6, 61. Okay, then 8 times 7, you get 56. And then you get 57 here. So you take 61 minus 56, right? 34 minus 28, you get a 6. Then 61 minus 56, you get a 5. Okay, so 57, then it is 8 again. And then this one is 56 again. And then you have 1. So you stop here. Okay, so for those who are from Chinese school, I think you write a word like this. Okay, I don't know lah. For you, I don't know whether you write it like this or not, but for my age, primary school, we are writing out this one. Okay, so this requires remainder, right? Okay, so you need to know that when you are having this one, this whole method, we call it as long division, where we are going to use it later also for the polynomial part, long division. But now what I want to mention here is you need to know when we want to apply this long division in polynomial, this thing, this number, we call it as polynomial, so it is px. Okay, this one, the 7 here, is actually the divisor, so we call it as dx. Alright, and then for this is quotient, so it should be qx. And this part is remainder, so we write as rx. So this is all the summary that you need to know. Px, what is px? Means the question itself, or the polynomial. And then dx is the divisor. Usually will be given in the question as well. And then qx is the answer, okay, the quotient. And also the remainder here, the number here requires a remainder, which is rx. Alright, so if you want to rewrite this in this form, so actually is what? It is actually 3417 is equals to 7 multiplied with 488 and then plus 1. Alright, so in terms of numbers, so this is the meaning of our equation here. Px equals to dx qx plus rx. Okay, alright, so this equation is actually very important because we need this one to answer some of the question also. Alright, so that's why I tried to link it by using the numbers learned before, and I hope that you can link them together. Alright, so px equals to d, q, and r. For those who are from English schools, be no problem. You should know what is quotient, what is remainder. But for those who are from Chinese school, I believe that you might need to know all these terms here. Okay, alright, so now. Okay, so I hope that you already understand what is the meaning of px, dx, qx, and also rx. Okay? Alright, so now, this equation itself is very important because we will use it in the division of the polynomial. Okay, so let us have a look at what are the methods that we can use in exam to deal with the division of the polynomial. Okay, alright, so there are two different methods can be used in the division. There are two methods here. The first one is comparison method. So for comparison method, right, here I name it as comparison method, but it is not the standard name. Okay, so for comparison method, generally this is the equation that you want to use. Okay, so for comparison method, this is a equation that you want to use. And then method number 2 is the long division. Alright, so for me, I would actually suggest students to learn out both methods because some questions will be easier if you use method number 1. Some questions will be easier if you use method number 2. For most of the questions, long division is easier, most of the questions. Alright, but there are some tricky questions, right? Actually, by using method number 1 is easier. Alright, so to me, you need to learn out both methods. You cannot skip any one. Alright. Okay, so when you want to use the comparison method, as what I told you, we are using this formula actually. And then to use this formula, there are some small rules that you need to know. Okay, some small rules that you need to know. Okay, so let's say I'm talking about degree. Okay, so for degree, we are talking about the degree of this whole thing now. Let's say the degree of px is degree 4. And then let's say the degree of dx is degree 1, let's say. Okay, these two usually will be given in the question. Okay, so you should know that what is the degree of qx? It should be a degree 3. So that 1 plus 3, you get a 4. Okay, and then what is the degree of rx? So degree of rx is actually depends on this degree. So that means if you are having rx, the remainder, the degree is usually 0. Not to say 0, it depends on the degree of dx, that means 1. Degree of dx is 1, so you are taking 1 minus 1, therefore it is 0. Okay, so I take another example. If let's say there's one particular question, they tell you that, okay, now my px is degree 4 again, the polynomial, and it is given that the divisor is degree 2. Okay, so what will happen to my quotient here? So again, quotient multiply with the divisor, you should get degree 4. So this one should be 2 lah. So that 2 plus 2 equals to 4. When you multiply two polynomials together, okay, the degree that they get is plus, right? Alright. Okay, then for Rx, what is the Rx here? It should be 1. How can I get a 1? Because it depends on this polynomial, which is 2 minus 1. Therefore, you get a 1. Okay, alright, so this is some basic rules that you need to know. So in general, if let's say in question they give you degree m for px, and for the dx they give you degree n. So what is the degree for this qx? It should be m minus n. So that n plus m minus n, you get an m. Okay, and then what is the degree for the remainder here? It should be n minus 1 because it depends on this power, the power of the divisor. So it's always 1 degree lower than the divisor degree. Okay, alright, so you should know about these basic rules first before you can use this method to find out the division. Okay, so now I want to show you some very basic example. Okay, let's say I give you one question here. Okay, let's say part A example. Okay, I want to take, let's say px is degree 4. Okay, so 3x power 4 plus 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. Okay, and I want to divide it by using degree 1. Degree 1, let's say I have x minus 3, let's say. So I want to take this polynomial divided by this divisor. Okay, so if I want to use comparison method, how can I start? Alright, so again, firstly, you need to start with this equation here. So you write out px first. So what is the px? This is the px. So 3x power 4 plus 2x squared plus 3x minus 1 equals to, then you write divisor dx. What is your dx? This is your dx at x minus 3. Okay, then you need to write out your qx here. So to write out the qx here, usually I will tell students very easily. You just need to ask yourself, x multiply with what to get the 3x power 4, the first term. So x multiply with something to get 3x power 4, right? So what is the something here? It should be 3x power 3. Okay, all right. So after you write out the 3x power 3 already, then you have to continue to write out this quotient, okay, by decrease 1 degree at one time. So you start with 3x power 3, right? So the next one should be x power 2. But what is the number in front of x power 2? I don't know. So I will write as a. And then plus, the next one is 1 degree lower, which is bx, and then plus c. So this whole thing will be my quotient, where it is degree 3. You can see that the highest power is degree 3. Okay, then plus. Okay, we talk about remainder now. Your degree of divisor is 1. So your remainder will be degree 0. Degree 0 means x power 0 lah. So x power 0, that means it should be a number. There's no x, but it should be a number. So what is the number? I also don't know. So I will write as a d. Okay, so this is how we start off with the comparison method. You need to know all these rules first. Okay, then after that only I teach you how to find A, B, C, and D. Okay, so this is for part A lah, just to show you what am I talking about here. So you can see that this whole thing is degree 4. Okay, this is the degree. So this is degree 4 for polynomial. And then for divisor, it is degree 1. For quotient, it is degree 3. And then for remainder, is degree 0. Okay, all right. So this is part A, the first example. Okay, then now maybe we talk about the second example here, this one. Okay, I will erase the whole thing, then maybe you can copy it down first. If you don't understand, then you can refer back later. Okay, then now we talk about the second example here. Okay, let's say I'm having second example, and then again, the polynomial is degree 4. Okay, let's say I'm having part B. How about I have this? I just simply write, okay, so 3x power 4 minus 3x squared plus 2x minus 5. Let's say I want to divide it by using 2x minus 1. Okay, so this is a polynomial and this is your divisor. Oh, sorry, my divisor should be quadratic, degree 2, quadratic. So maybe I want to divide it by using x squared plus 1, let's say. Okay, all right, so before you want to use the comparison method, you need to write out your equation correctly in this pattern first. Okay, so I'm having px, so px is 3x power 4 minus 3x squared plus 2x minus 5. Okay, equals to divisor. So divisor is x squared plus 1. And then you want to write out the quotient, right? Okay, so for the quotient here, okay, so again, what is the first term for the quotient? So you need to decide it. Okay, you take x squared, multiply with something equals to 3x power 4. So what is the something here? So the something here should be 3x squared, right? So it also fulfills the concept that we have just now. Your quotient must be degree 2. Okay, so you see your quotient is degree 2. Okay, so what is the next term? The next term will be degree 1. So it will be something with x power 1. And then continue until x power 0. So the next one will be bx power 0. So bx power 0 is a constant. Therefore, I didn't write out x power 0. I just keep it as a constant. Okay, then plus remainder. So now the degree of the remainder should be a 1 because you should take 2 minus 1 to get a 1 here. So that means for the remainder for this example, it should be start with x power 1. So what is the coefficient in front of x power 1? I don't know. So it should be cx and then plus d. The next term will be x power 0. So this will be your remainder. This will be your quotient. And then later you need to apply the comparison method to find all the values for a, b, c, and d. Okay, so again, if you look at this one, polynomial is degree 4, divisor is degree 2, quotient is degree 2, remainder is degree 1. Okay, so before you start this method, the very first step is you need to know how to write out the equation correctly first. If you write out the equation wrongly, then generally you cannot get a correct answer as well. Okay, alright, so this is what we have for the second example, degree 4. And then your divisor is degree 2. Okay, alright, so maybe how about I try another example, and then maybe you can try and see to write out whether you understand the question or not. Okay, how about if let's say I have this example. Let's say I want you to find out, okay, so 2x power 3 minus 3x squared plus 1. And I want to divide it by using x squared minus 2x plus 2. Let's say. Okay, so can anyone tell me and write out how to write out this in the equation of this one? Okay, so first your px is okay, equals to divisor. So divisor is x squared minus 2x plus 2. Then you want to find out your quotient here. So what is the degree of your quotient here? Okay, you can decide the first term of the quotient always. So x squared multiply with something to get 2x power 3. So what is the something here? You can decide straight away. So the something here should be 2x. Okay, so this one is degree 1, right? So degree 1 multiply with degree 2, that's why you get a degree 3. Okay, so if your quotient is degree 1, then what is the next term? So the next one should be degree 0, should be x power 0. So x power 0 is a constant. I don't know what is the value, so I just put it as a. Okay, all right. Then after that, we talk about the remainder. So what do we have for the remainder here? Okay, so for the remainder, again, the power, you need to refer to the divisor degree. So divisor is x power 2. Therefore, for your remainder should start from x power 1. So what's the value in front of x power 1? I don't know. So I just write as bx power 1. And then you have to continue to write up until x power 0. So this is x power 1. Then the last term is cx power 0. So x power 0 is a 1. So I didn't write out. So I just write out as a c. Okay, then later you need to apply some method to find the value for a, b, and c to get the quotient and remainder. Okay, all right. So generally, this is what you need to know before you apply the comparison method. This is the very first step that you need to write out first. You need to write out on your own, and you need to remember all the rules here about the degree. Okay, all right. So this is what we have for comparison method. Okay, then for method number 2, it's called as long division. So as what I said, long division is something that you learned before in primary school. Okay, but now we just want to apply in the polynomial part. Okay, all right. Okay, then now we are having example 6 here. There are 2 examples here. Okay, so for these 2 examples, I will discuss part B with you. Okay, then you try to find out part A yourself. Okay, part B, I will show you both methods. Okay, by using comparison and also by using long division. Actually, part B is longer. Can I change my mind? Okay, I show you part A and then you do part B yourself for both methods. Okay, all right. So let's have a look for example 6. Okay, I'll show you both methods. So I'll show you method number 1 first, the comparison method. Okay, so this is my question. Okay, so how can we start the method number 1? Alright, so for method number 1, okay, so first I need to write the polynomial first, which is 2x minus 2x power 3 minus x plus 5, and it is equals to divisor, which is x plus 3. Okay, so now you want to write out your quotient here. So what will be your quotient here? So again, decide the first term of your quotient first. So x multiply with something to get 2x power 3. So the something here should be 2x squared. Okay, all right. So once you know that you start from 2x squared, then the next term will be x power 1, which is ax. You have to stop right out until x power 0. So after ax power 1, the next one will be x power 0. So I write it out as b. Okay, then plus, now we are having a remainder. So to get the remainder, you look at the divisor. The divisor is power 1. So the remainder will be power 1 minus 1, which is equal to 0. So when you're having x power 0, that means your remainder should be a constant. So the constant should be a c. Okay, all right. So this is the very first step. Like what I said just now, you have to apply this concept. Write out this equation. Px equals to dx qx plus rx. So you should know that square plus ax plus b is your quotient, and then the rx will be your remainder. Okay, so how can I get the value for A, B, and C? So that's why I said it is a comparison method. So comparison method means that you need to compare left-hand side with right-hand side. So how you compare it, you need to expand everything here. Okay, so again, expand this bracket and expand the C. So what you have is 2x power 3 plus 8x squared plus bx. Then you have 6x squared plus 3ax plus 3b, and then plus c. You expand these two brackets, and then this is what you get. And after that, what you need to do is like you need to do the collecting, compound all the x with same power together. So like this one, I'm having 2x power 3. Then for x squared, I'm having ax squared and also 6x squared. So when I write out, I can write out as a plus 6x squared. Okay, then after that, I collect all the x power 1 together. So this is bx and also 8x, 3ax. So I group them together, it will become b plus 3a, then bracket with x. Then the last term is I'm going to group all the constant together. So the constant is 3b plus c. Okay, so after you group them in different powers of x already, then you just compare left-hand side with the right-hand side. So as an example, if I look at this one, okay, this term is x power 2, right? The coefficient of x power 2 is a plus 6. On the right-hand side, on the left-hand side here, you didn't see any x power 2, which means what? That means the a plus 6 is equals to 0, because you have 0x squared here. So you compare left and right-hand side. Okay, so a plus 6 equals to 0, therefore you get a equals to negative 6. Okay, right, then how about for the next term? So for the next term, you look for x. Okay, so b plus 3a bracket x. So you compare it with the left-hand side. If you look at the x power term, you have negative 1. So which means if you want to write out and solve, right, so it should be b plus 3a equals to negative 1. And just now you already know that a is negative 6, right? Okay, equals to negative 1. Therefore, what's the b? Okay, so b will be negative 1 plus 18. And therefore, your b is equal to 17. Okay, so after you get the a and b, then the next one will be the c already. So I think you should know how we do it actually. Okay, so for the next term, we are looking for the c. So 3b plus c is the constant term, and we are going to compare it with the left-hand side constant term, which is a 5. So that means if you want to solve it, it will be 3b plus c equals to 5. So just now you already get the b, which is 17. So 17 plus c equals to 5 here. And therefore, if you continue further, your c should be negative 46. Okay, so once you get the value for A, B, and C already, don't stop here. You have to actually try to write out what the question wants. So what's the quotient here? So the quotient is actually, this is your quotient, right? 2x squared plus ax plus b is your quotient. So you can write out quotient is 2x squared minus 6x plus 17. Okay, don't just write out the negative 6, 17, and negative 46, and then you let the examiner guess what is your answer. So you have to write out properly. Okay, then the remainder, what's the remainder here? So the remainder here will be negative 46. Okay, so this is how we use the comparison method to get the quotient and also remainder. Alright, so the very important thing is you need to know how to write out the very first equation at the beginning part. If you write it out wrongly, that means your whole question is wrong. Okay, yeah? So this is what we have for method number 1. You have to learn of this method as well, because some question you will find that this method is very useful. Okay, alright, then now we continue to method number 2. Okay, so for method number 2 is long division. So to me, long division, it is actually quite convenient because the step is pretty short and it's very easy to understand as well. Okay, so just that there are some tricky questions you might feel a bit confusing if you want to use method number 2. So it depends. But most of the question I would say method number 2, the long division. Okay, so for this example, I need to write in the polynomial here. Okay, so there's a small hint for you, or small suggestion for you. If you look at the polynomial here, you have x power 3, and then you don't have x power 2, right? Then you straight away go to x power 1. So for me, when I use the long division, I will prefer to write out every single term. So that means if I'm having 2x power 3, no x squared, I will still write as 0x squared. So that I won't miss out some terms later. Okay, so I'll write out. If anything like no x squared, I will still write out, but I will write 0 coefficient, so 0x squared, then minus x, then plus 5. Okay, and after that, the divisor is x plus 3. Okay, so I will start now. Okay, so first, every time you need to refer to the very first term here, and also the first term. So you need to think, you need to multiply something with x, multiply something with x to get the 2x power 3. So what's the something here? Okay, so multiply something with x to get 2x power 3. Therefore, to get a something here, it should be 2x squared, right? Okay, so that 2x squared multiplied with x to get 2x power 3. Okay, so some students they prefer to write 2x squared here, so that x squared and x squared are together. Right, but for me, I actually don't get used to it. I will still write it out here so that I know that when I want to check my answer is 2x squared multiplied with x to get 2x power 3. Yeah, alright. So 2x squared multiplied with x, then you get 2x power 3. Okay, so you need to write out. Okay, then 2x squared, you also need to multiply with this. Multiply with both. Okay, so just now you already multiply with x, you get 2x 3. And then 2x squared multiplied with 3, you get 6x squared. You put it at the back. Okay, then after that, you draw a line. Okay, so follow the method that we learned just last time in primary school. Now you need to minus. Okay, so 2x power 3 minus 2x power 3, you get a 0 here. 0 minus 6x squared, you have negative 6x squared. Okay, then after that, you pull down the rest of the things, so negative x plus 5. You copy down all the numbers, right? Okay, then what you should do next? Okay, or maybe you just copy down first term first. You bring down the first term first, the next term first. Okay, so again, now you refer to the first term. Now you're having x and also negative 6x squared. Alright, so something multiply with x to get negative 6x squared. So what is the something here? It should be negative 6x. So that negative 6x multiply with x, you get negative 6x squared. Correct or not? Okay, and also the negative 6x multiplied with 3. So if you write it out in proper way, then it will look something like this. You'll get negative 6x squared, okay, minus negative 6x multiplied with 3, you get negative 18x. Okay, then you draw a line again. Alright, okay, then what do you need to do now is you minus again. So negative 6x squared minus negative 6x squared, you get a 0. And then now negative x minus negative 18, you should get 17x, right? And then bring down the number on top again, which is plus 5. Okay, so the next term is again, please refer to the first term for now. So you're having x again, and then refer to 17x. So something multiply x to get 17x. So what is the something here? It should be 17. 17 multiply with x. Okay, and then 17 multiplied with plus 3. So 17x is this one. Then when you take 17 multiplied with 3, you get 51. Okay, so if you continue further, 5 minus 51, you get negative 46. 17x minus 17x, you get a 0. So you have negative 46. That means you cannot continue anymore because there's no more x, so you cannot multiply, you cannot divide it anymore. Alright, so this is what we have for the long division. Okay, so again, if you want, you try to write out the answer that they want. So what is the quotient here? So the quotient is actually 2x squared minus 6x plus 17, and also the remainder should be negative 46. Okay, so for the long division for polynomial, I think you need to practice a little bit. Once you get used to the idea, it should be very easy. But basically, you already have the technique, just you need to get used to it by using polynomial only. Okay, so this is what you have for method number 1 and also method number 2 for the division of polynomial. So I hope that you learn both methods up. Okay, so for example, 6 part B, right? Okay, please try on your own. I will give you only the final answer. So for part B, the quotient is x squared plus 7 and the remainder should be 14. Okay, so please try it out and see whether you can get an answer or not. Alright. Yeah, so if you cannot get an answer again, please let me know, and then so that I can actually point out which part you do it wrongly. Okay, so that's all for the video today.